If you are not doing this one thing this spring, man, you're letting your lawn down. I don't care if you've got an amazing looking lawn or a lawn full of weeds or whatever. This single thing can really help your lawn pop. So I've been mulching my lawn for years, and honestly, truthfully, a lot of those years, my mom was making me mulch my lawn when I was, in high school and college and things like that. But now I've learned the value of mulch. It's really good for your lawn. So I'm gonna walk you through of what not to do when mulching, and then what to do, and some things and tips and tricks that I learned along the way that'll help expedite the process and really be beneficial and helpful to your house, your curb appeal, and the plants themselves. So let's get into it. So why mulch your lawn? Really good question. Other than making your grass absolutely pop and helping with curb appeal, it does have quite a few benefits to your plants and your landscaping in general. Number one, mulching in the fall and spring really helps regulate the temperature of the root zone of your plant. So helping your highs not be so high and burn up that root zone, and your colds not be so cold that, it damages your root zone just as well. And then also it's organic material, so it breaks down and it's basically providing nutrients to your soil if you're not using like rubber mulch or rock or things like that. If you're using like a shredded hardwood or something like that, it's gonna break down over time and provide nutrients to your plants. So first I'm gonna cover some of the things not to do. You ever seen one of those landscaping crews that looks more like a NASCAR pit crew than a landscaping crew? Yeah, oftentimes I see them like flying like 90 miles to nothing. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. But when you really watch what they're doing, a lot of times they're dumping mulch on top of existing plants. So what I like to do to prevent that is get these little orange flags. So I know that that's a black-eyed Susan. So I'm just gonna stick a little flag right there so I know when I'm dumping, definitely avoid that area. I'm just gonna dump and then I'm gonna put it around there because I don't want to cover that up. So the next tip is like, don't overdo it. When you're creating a new bed, yeah, you want to put 3 or 4 inches of mulch down originally. But if you're like in maintenance mode like me, I see a lot online where people actually tell you to put 4 inches of mulch down. And number one, that would be incredibly expensive and a whole lot of work, but it also could potentially hurt the plant itself. The root system and the plant itself needs oxygen. The soil needs to be oxygenated. So if you've got 4 inches of mulch and you keep doing that year after year after year, well, the mulch isn't breaking down that fast. So by the end of it, you're gonna have like a super thick bed of mulch that will build up funguses and things like that underneath the surface, which is really not good. So easy does it with the mulch, especially when you're in like maintenance mode. Next thing of what not to do is just come through here and just dump mulch on existing weeds. It might trample out some of the weeds, but the majority of these, like specifically the daffodil and things like that, are gonna poke through anyway. Those things are absurd. So go through here, pull up the weeds, make sure you got a clean canvas before you go through dumping the mulch down. You don't have to go crazy with it. You don't have to have every single weed up out of here, but get a vast majority of these weeds out of here, or you're just gonna have to pull these weeds up in a few months. And yet another example of what not to do is a lot of people will dump a whole lot of mulch around here and create kind of like a mulch volcano up around this tree. What that does is that will actually push water away from your tree, number one. So the slope, if you're working down like that, it's gonna push water away from where you want water to go. Also, that's another breeding ground for funguses. Now we're gonna touch on some of the things that I do every single year that I feel like really elevate my mulch game. So the things that I never skimp on is toilet paper, paper towels, and mulch. Go with the good stuff. I would absolutely recommend you use shredded hardwood mulch. What was that? He's not a fan of shredded hardwood. A lot of times people will sell dyed mulch. Dyed mulch, if you've ever used it before, I've made the mistake of using it in the past. It's a little bit cheaper, but it will wash out in like, no joke, like 2 or 3 weeks. And it'll look just as bad as this in about maybe a month. But it's honestly kind of a cheap way to go, and it doesn't provide near the nutrients that good shredded, nice hardwood mulch provides. So after you got your tools all out, ready to rock and roll, what I do is my borders look pretty good right now, but I will still run my edger attachment all the way around and just really intensely dig out that border. That's gonna prevent all this grass from eventually growing or coming back over into your beds, just getting a clean cut. It'll really help those beds pop. So once those edges are nice and dug out, I like to walk around with my little 5-gallon bucket here and hopefully not spill everything that I just put into it, but basically pop out some of these big weeds in here. I just got to go around the beds. Anything that I feel like might have a chance of pushing its way up through the new mulch, I like to pull out and just throw in that 5-gallon bucket. Just helps keep things clean. Then after those beds are nice and cleared out, I mean, you don't have to go crazy with it, but just get the majority of the weeds out if you can. Then I like to walk around with preen. I put this down every 6 months, so early spring and early to mid fall, just to prevent some of those winter weeds coming out. I will put this preen extended control out. And I like to do this before I put down the mulch, just to give it a better chance to soak down in the soil before, you know, the mulch comes on. I mean, I haven't seen an incremental difference between doing this before or after. You could do this after you, but you know, you've got that nice black, dark mulch on there. You don't want to put these like weird yellow looking granules on it. So I like to do this right before I put the mulch on. All right guys, so now that our beds are nice and cleared out and preened up and our edges are looking crispy. Oh, by the way, my wife made fun of me the other day because I said that my edges were crispy and she thought that was funny. Like I should be calling them crisp, she said, like a crisp edge. But man, I've always called my beds crispy because that's what it is, crispy, right? I mean, am I wrong? Now it's time for the heavy lifting part where we start breaking a sweat. We're gonna be putting down the mulch now. Beds are ready to roll. And this is the part where honestly, I see quite a few people doing this wrong, and especially the commercial guys. I think they're just moving a little too quick. Like I said, like a NASCAR pit crew. It's just like, slow down, man. If you've been watching my channel in the past, I've recommended that when you mow, you alternate like vertically, diagonally, horizontally, vertically, diagonally. That way you're not creating ruts, going over the same path over and over and over again with your mower tires. Well, the same is true with your wheelbarrow. You don't want to be going over the same patch of turf over and over and over again, especially with a super heavy wheelbarrow full of mulch. I mean, it's heavier than a mower a lot of the time. So I like to alternate the way that I go down, and I try not to go over the same patch over and over again. And better yet, sometimes I will like take the long way around. So I'll go up my driveway, down the street and over, just to eliminate the amount of time I spend on the grass. Another item that I forgot to mention is a tarp too. If you're using a trailer or even the back of your trailer hitch on your truck to carry mulch, make sure you put down one of these tarps too. It'll make cleanup an absolute breeze. That's honestly one of the better tips I've learned along the way. Cleanup is really annoying. All right, so now that I got the mulch to the bed, I want to mulch. I got to mulch smart. You know what they say, work harder, not smarter. No, that's not right. Work smarter, not harder. That was not on purpose, honestly. I like to work in a progression, so I'm gonna work down this bed this direction, but I also wanna work back to front. If I put mulch right here and then I still have to mulch that back portion right there, I have to drive over existing mulch. For the longest time, I just like was lazy and just put it down right when I got there. But it's much more effective if you start mulching to the back, and like big beds like this are particularly important like that because I'd have to drive all the way over that mulch just to get into an unmulched portion. So work back to front. And then, like I said, with some of the things like not to do, this is a fairly well-established bed, meaning I put mulch on it for several years now. So I'm just gonna put an inch or two maybe on this bed, just enough to clean up that color, really. This is a pro tip, honestly. This is what all the commercial guys do. They come around with the back side of their fork right here and they just pat it down. Just holds it into place a little bit better and it creates these clean looking spots on it. And when the mulch starts to get really low in here to where you're really not getting much out per shovel, that's when I like to switch over to this flat shovel, the transfer shovel, and I can really cleanly get it up. You know what I'm saying? So I was talking to my mom the other day about Nashville. We were getting a whole bunch of freezes. It's getting down to like 25 degrees and I was like, man, I'm really stressed out about it. I've got a whole bunch of new growth popping up. And she'll probably call me and say, I do not sound like that. But she said, Tyler, hadn't I told you March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. And I was like, I don't even know what you're saying. She was like, you know, it's like a lion, like it's just like wild and crazy, and then it kind of goes out soft like a lamb. So at the beginning of March, you gotta really be okay with these old temperature swings and not worry about it. It happens every year. You just gotta handle it. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of funny. But I think it's kind of true that, yeah, temperature does fluctuate. Everybody says like, oh, we have the craziest weather in the spring, or you've never been here. I mean, I've lived in several different cities now that are like, man, Nashville weather, Memphis weather, Minneapolis weather, like North Carolina, man, it's crazy here, dude. It's like this everywhere. Everywhere in the beginning of the spring and fall, it just fluctuates like crazy. And I think mulch is a really good tool to help insulate a little bit, at least the root zone, from the big temperature variations. Once your roots have woken up, they are starting to grow again. It's got that fleshy sort of new growth on it. It's really susceptible to cold temperature. You know, insulating it with mulch like this should help. If you've ever seen a mulch yard in the winter or in the spring or in the morning, really, if you drive up to a mulch yard, like it's just straight up steaming with heat coming off here, because as the organic matter in here starts to break down, produces heat. Looks like an oven. It's really cool. But I thought that was pretty funny. March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. I'm being a little bit more controlled here because these are established beds, and arborvitae can kind of be weird sometimes. And that's what this row of trees is. These are arborvitae trees. I think they're little green. What are they called? No, they're emerald green, this row of trees, if you're interested in that. It's like the name is thuja, I think. And they can just be a little finicky sometimes. So I'm just trying to be careful and not be too rough on them. So I'm just like spoon shoveling it up in here. And here's one really important tip. Around the edge of a tree like this, just make sure that you create a little bit of a crown. You definitely don't want it piling up on the trunk. You want to give it a little space. Number one, this allows airflow and prevents fungus and other things from growing up in here, but it also creates kind of like a water basin for water to pool up and then really target that root zone when it gets absorbed into the soil. Now tell me that does not look like a dang painting. Good night. If you're buying your mulch from a mulch yard, a lot of yards going on here, but basically what you need to do is find the length and the width of your bed in feet, multiply those two numbers together, and then divide that number by 81, and that will give you the yards of mulch that you need to cover your bed. So just for reference, this took about 2 yards of mulch, ran me about $89 at the mulch yard. I did the quick math. If I had gone to Home Depot or Lowe's, it would have cost me about 125 bucks or so. So I saved about 35 bucks, I think, or so, going to get it myself. I mean, slight savings, but I just like the quality of their mulch. Sometimes when you get it from Home Depot or Lowe's, you can get some suspect bags every now and then. So if you found this video interesting and entertaining at all, and you're doing this in the spring or fall, I put out a spring lawn care routine and a fall lawn care routine as well. So these will couple great with making sure that your beds look nice, make sure your grass looks nice as well. But guys, thanks as always for checking out my videos. If you liked it, again, hit that like button, throw any questions or concerns you have in the comments section, and definitely don't forget to subscribe. That tells YouTube that people are interested in my type of content or my content. So I would really, really appreciate it if you smash that subscribe button. Guys, until next time, keep cutting. Peace.